Hey everyone, Mike Mulligan here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm a certified orientation and mobility specialist, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a walk with me demonstration. So for this demonstration, I'm going to be traveling using a white cane on a rural road. So what I mean by rural road is a road that has no sidewalks. So rural can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but for my definition, it's really when you're traveling when there are no sidewalks. And one thing I want to say before I start, that this video is not meant to be a replacement for meeting with an orientation mobility specialist or replacing learning the skills from a specialist or an instructor. It's really just a way to kind of show what it's like traveling on a rural road, and I'll try my best to narrate what I'm doing along the way to provide some tips that might be helpful, or even a refresher or review of skills you've learned working with an orientation and mobility specialist. All right, so now I'm going to start my walk with me demonstration here, but first I want to describe a little bit about the environment that I will be traveling in. So to the right of me is a 2-lane road, so 1 lane of traffic in each direction. It's a rural road, so there's no sidewalks, but there is quite a big median because a lot of people do walk along the side of this road, but there are no sidewalks. And then to the right of the street, so I'm facing straight ahead, the street is on my right, and to the right of the street, on the opposite side of the street, is actually the ocean, which is nice. It's pretty windy here. And then to the left of the road, so to the left of me, is some kind of brush and some grass, and then that's where the houses will be when I walk along this path. So I'm going to be using a 58-inch Ambutech folding white cane. It has a marshmallow roller tip, and I am actually going to unfold it now, so I'm unfolding my cane. I have it out in front of me, and I'm going to walk until I get to a landmark that I have designated ahead of time, and I'll tell you when that is. And when I get there, I will know that will be my stopping point. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna get started now. Right now I am standing on the asphalt right before it meets the dirt on my left side. So I'm kind of right at the edge of where the dirt on the left shoreline and the asphalt meet, and I want to stay as close as I can to the edge without tripping on the edge, because that will help keep me out of the road and avoiding any cars that might be coming. So there's a few ways to do that. One way that I like to do, and I have a lot of my clients do, is just to use your cane to trail the edge. So right now I am trailing both the left side with my cane. I am doing constant contact. I have my cane going left and right. So every time my cane goes to the left, I'm able to feel where that edge is. One, so I don't trip off of it or roll my ankle on it, so I give myself enough space that I don't do that, but also to keep me from veering out into the road. So you can do that with your cane. Sometimes there's a white line right by the edge too, that if you have some functional vision, you can see that, and that can help keep you near the edge. But you really want to do your best to not veer out into the street, because you never know when those cars might be coming. Sometimes you can hear them, which can be helpful. So right now, I'm just doing my constant contact. I'm trailing the edge, trying to keep as close to the side as I can without going off into the dirt that's on my left. And one thing I want to note is you want to avoid walking on the dirt shoulder if you can, because you never know if there's going to be a big rock there, or there's a pothole, or there's a puddle. There's just more obstacles that can be there that can be kind of a tripping or falling hazard. So again, I'm still walking along this path here, walking along this rural road, which has quite a big shoulder, bigger shoulder than most rural roads have. But again, I'm just doing constant contact and using that shoreline to help keep me out of veering out into the street. So I passed a driveway a little ways back, and I'll talk a little bit more about driveways when I get past some more. So it's a pretty nice day out here today. It's kind of windy, which can make it a little bit harder to hear the cars that are coming. But overall, it's a pretty good day to be out for a walk. So again, feeling the shoreline. And one thing, if this little side, or the side of the road where I'm walking, wasn't as wide, so if that white line was a lot closer to the edge of the road, right now it's probably about 3 feet away from me on the right. If it was closer, what I would probably do if a car was coming is I would stop, let the car go, and then continue on my way. I think that's really helpful, especially if you're not in a rush and the street's not too busy. Just to give yourself some extra space, you stop, you let the car go, and then you continue on. So right now, I have found an intersecting street. So I realized that because, one, I know the area, but two, is my shoreline started to curve. And sometimes that can be confusing because it can feel just like a driveway, but because I know the area and I know I've already passed the one driveway, that the next one is going to be the street. So a big tip for rural travel is learning how many driveways there are, because there's not as many landmarks when you're traveling in rural areas like there are in kind of urban and residential areas. So I'm going to cross this little side street. I know it's a pretty quiet little side street, so I'm going to get ready to cross, and I'm just going to wait for it to be quiet because it's not a super busy road, so it's pretty easy to wait for that. Okay, I don't hear anybody. Gonna start going. So I'm crossing the street now. I just found the end of the road. I feel the dirt, so I'm gonna continue on my way using that shoreline. And again, I'm still trailing. Keep me out of the road. So traveling in rural areas can be tricky because they can be so different. And like I just mentioned before, landmarks can be tough. So finding landmarks can be a challenge. Sometimes people will create their own landmarks. So they'll put up a post or something right by the edge. So if I put a post to the left in the dirt, hopefully I can use that with my cane to feel that. If somebody has some vision, maybe they'll put up a bright sign or something to help with a landmark if it's, say, in front of their house. So there's different options out there. Part of it is just being creative. So again, still going along this road. Staying as close as I can to the shoreline without actually stepping into it. I like to do constant contact. It just gives me a little more tactile feedback. I find that's pretty helpful. So I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. I should be getting to my landmark somewhat soon. Oops, got stuck in a little crack there. There's a decent amount of cars coming by. Again, you can stop and let them go if you feel more comfortable, or if it's definitely a tighter road. Since this is a 2-lane road that's pretty wide, I don't feel like I need to do that. But that really depends on where you're at and your comfort level. So here I am, I'm coming up to another road, and this is actually a gravel road, and it's pretty noticeable with the cane, so I'm able to feel the gravel. So I know I've come up to my second street crossing. So this one is tough because the shoreline kind of disappears. It's hard to have that distinct corner, but I know this side street is pretty quiet, but again, once I get to this area, I want to make sure I wait for it to be quiet. Again, I can follow the little shoreline here between the street, because the street is gravel and dirt and the asphalt. Okay, quiet, I'm gonna go. So I still feel a lot of the gravel with my cane on the left. Okay. And this area is a little tough to know how far exactly I've gone crossing the street. So one thing I can do is I can feel over until I feel the grass. So if I felt the gravel back at the road, I know I haven't finished crossing the street. So that's one way I can confirm that I have made it across the road. And then I know after that road, I am going to pass 2 more driveways, and then I will reach my landmark. So my shoreline just ended. Feel this cobblestone kind of driveway here. So that's my driveway number 1. Again, keep trailing that shoreline. Okay, so my shoreline ended here. Feeling, okay, feels like another driveway, gonna cross. And one thing I wanted to point out, if for some reason you veer into a driveway, like I just did now, so I veered into the driveway, what you can do is you can turn back towards the main road, so either by listening for traffic or just by turning a little bit to your right, and you want to just find that shoreline again. So I found that shoreline on my left. Okay, and then I'm able to feel that I've made it back out onto the main road. The traffic is also helping confirm that for me. And then I can continue on my way. So now I am coming up to what I'm going to use as my landmark. So I've passed 2 driveways and found this third. I guess it's technically a street, but it leads back just to some houses back there. So this is my landmark to tell me that I've reached my end. And one thing I can do to confirm, I'm turning around here, but if I feel to the right, there are mailboxes. So I've turned around back from the way I just came. I can feel to the right, and I feel some posts with my cane, confirming that I have made it to my landmark. So that's the end of my Walk With Me demo here, traveling a rural road. So these are just some tips. Again, not meant to replace meeting with an orientation mobility specialist. This is just some general things I find helpful when teaching my clients how to travel in kind of rural areas. So please be safe out there. When traveling, especially in rural areas where there's no sidewalks, cars can come pretty close. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing and have a wonderful day. Bye.